Hey, what's up, guys? I've been in the YouTube true crime community for a while now. I've had my ups and my downs. I've had uh, two health events, but I wouldn't change a thing. I love this community. I love my subscribers. I love my mods. I love the friends that I have made with various creators. Yeah, I've been going in Idaho for case for I'd say about 6 months, and I've uncovered a lot of stuff, and it just seems like there's more stuff that keeps uh, popping up. A lot of my subscribers, they see the person here on the video, but they don't know a lot about me. I've opened up to a good friend of mine about my struggles and what I've been through in life, and he likewise the same. About 2004, I was arrested for aggravated robbery, and I took a plea deal. I got probation. I was out for about a year, and I met the wrong woman, and I ended up violating my probation on an attempted arson charge. Now, you guys have probably yeah heard in the streets about my charges and stuff like that. That don't bother me. But I want to take this time uh, for my subscribers and everyone else on YouTube to get to know me a little bit. Yeah, after I was violated on the new on the new attempted arson charge, I went to prison for about my underlying sentence was 76 months, and I did 3 months. I did a year in Norton, and then 2 years in Lansing behind the walls of Max, and I was minimum custody. Went to work release. I was in work release for about, I'd say, 8 months. Got out, and I swore to myself I would never go back. And I fell in love with a wonderful woman. Her name was Sherry. We were together a year, and then we got married on my birthday back. Actually 12 days after my birthday back in June of 2011. And we had plans for the future. We wanted to buy a house. She had two kids by she had two kids by a previous marriage, and she wanted another child, but she couldn't because she had her tubes tied. And then September 16th, 2011, my world changed. It started out routinely, and she was going in for a heart cath because she was having chest pains. And everything was fine that morning. She was awake, she was alert, and she was asking me to help her pick out what she was going to have for lunch after the procedure. And she asked me if they had Coke. I said no. And she said, "Well, what do they have?" I said, Pepsi and Dr. Pepper." She said, "Oh, just give me a Pepsi." So I marked that down. She went in for her procedure, and the doctor said, mind you, she was 28, and the doctor said that she had a cholesterol count of a 50-year-old woman. And the valves to her heart were so clogged that there was a vein attempting to grow off of another vein to reallocate the blood supply. And the doctor told me that since I was her husband, I was allowed to go back there while they prep her for surgery. I walked back there and I bent down and I kissed her. I said, "I love you, baby," and she said, "I love you too." And 4 minutes later, she went into cardiac arrest. So I've been through a lot of pain in my life. She went into cardiac arrest with me in the room, and guys, it felt like a piece of me died with her that day, because they did everything that they could do to try to save her. And she woke up long enough to ask if her mom and dad was there, and they said, "Yeah, your mom and dad's here." And then she lost consciousness again. And then right as her aunt was being pushed into the heart hospital, right as her aunt made it through the doorway to the heart hospital, she passed. Yeah, I was beside myself for the longest time. I never forgot that promise I made to her and made to myself, that I would never go back. Never go back to jail, never go back to prison. And yes, I understand that at the time we didn't have kids of our own. You know, I was helping to raise her kids by a previous marriage, and where their dad had walked out of their life. And it just it hurt so much for the longest time, guys. After her death, I shut down. I like literally shut down. I wouldn't eat. I wouldn't do anything. I still went to work, and because I knew, the rent and bills weren't going to pay for themselves. Uh, heard a lot of stories while I was locked up. I've seen a lot of things while I was locked up. I was at Community Corrections Residential the day that Dennis Rader got arrested, and I had a friend of mine that was in the same pod with him, because when I left the jail, I was in pod 2, and I was in 206 down. Well, Dennis Rader was in 201 down, and my friend was like right next door to Dennis Rader, and he said that they had a camera in Dennis Rader's cell to watch everything that he did. And I asked him what he was like, and the only thing my friend at the time could say was very vain, and he knew people recognized him, and he was giddy with the thought of people recognizing him and praising him and everything else. And I've seen a lot of stuff that you won't see on, like, I've seen a lot of TV shows based on jail or based on prison. Not like the reality shows like 60 Days In. I mean, like, like the television shows that show you, exactly what prison life is supposed to be like. Basically, like they glamorize it. There's nothing glamorous about going to prison. There's really not. I've seen fights between um, Mexicans and Indians. You know, everyone in prison is clicked up. Like, you have the Native Americans and the Mexicans that that get along. You have the there are some African Americans and whites that get along perfectly, and they're friends, they're cellies. Yeah, they share everything. But I've seen my fair share when I was in Lansing. There was supposed to be a deal that went down between the Native Americans, the Mexicans, and some gangbangers. They were all supposed to, you know, share a big shipment of tobacco that was coming in and distribute it throughout the prison. Well, the spokesman for the Native Americans wasn't supposed to get his cut until everything was done. Well, he took his cut early, and I walked in the chow hall one day, and there was a bunch of magazines and just this big puddle of blood, in the chow hall. And come to find out that the Mexicans had got a hold of the dude, and they locked and socked him and stabbed him in the chow hall for double crossing them. But yeah, I've I've seen a lot of stuff in my 52 years on this planet. Like, when I was, I'd say 7. Uh, I used to ask my mom. And mind you, this was back in the 70s. I used to ask my mom why we started locking our door, because before that, we could go to the grocery store, go to Montgomery Ward, go to here and there, and leave our door unlocked. And then my mom would told me, she said, "Oh, she goes, it's not safe anymore to keep our doors unlocked." I'm like, "Why?" And mind you, this was back in the late 70s when Dennis Rader started. And she goes, the boogeyman will get us. Yeah, I'm thinking the boogeyman will get us, and I didn't realize it till I was watching the news with my mom that night, and Dennis Rader had struck Nancy Fox's house. So yeah, so that I knew what she meant by that. But I'm a good person, guys. I try to be. I try to run a good channel. And with me being in prison for from 2006 to 2009, you know I don't like to see people in these true crime cases. Basically, I feel like they're getting the raw end of the deal when it comes to the prosecution and the judge, especially there up in Idaho. What's going on? I feel like Brian's being railroaded. By Bill Thompson, by Judge John Judge. And I know Ann Taylor. She's doing the best job that she can for Brian, but it feels like she's on knees every single time by Bill Thompson when it comes to the evidence for the case. Why can't Bill Thompson just hand everything over the needs to be handed instead of sealing everything up like he doesn't want anyone to see exactly what's going on? It's like, here's my right hand. He's like, you know, here's my right hand, but you can't see what my left one's doing. It's like an illusion. And just the same thing in Delphi. With everything about the Odinist being involved and stuff, I feel like it's an illusion. But Brian deserves justice. I mean, and not only does Brian deserve justice, so does Richard Allen, so does Karen Reed, um, so does the victims of the Idaho 4. And I feel like that they're not getting justice in this case because everything is getting dragged out and drawn out by Bill Thompson. I feel like he's disrespecting Xana, Maddie, Kaylee, and Ethan by not doing what he should be doing as a prosecuting attorney and turning over everything that needs to be turned over so this case can get going. But like always, guys, like, comment, subscribe my channel, and make sure you hit that bell notification for any new uploads. And make sure you share my channel as well. And if you become a member of the channel, you get members only shout outs, members only lives, and members only videos, members only perks. You guys have a good Friday night, and I'll catch you tomorrow.